Zorb leaned back in his hovering chair, 3 of his 7 appendages massaging his temple ridges. You know what? He sighed dramatically to his assistant Plex. I absolutely love Mondays in the Galactic Administrative Center. Nothing brings me more joy than sorting through 10,000 distress signals before lunch. Plex, a blobby mass of purple jelly with 17 optical sensors, wobbled nervously. Sir? Is that what humans call sarcasm? No, Plex. It's what humans call being dead inside. Zorb replied, flicking through holographic messages with the speed of someone who clearly wished to be anywhere else in the universe. And speaking of humans, guess what's waiting in our inbox? Again, Plex's entire body rippled with anxiety. Not Earth. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Zorb threw all 7 appendages into the air. Earth. For the 37th time, this solar rotation. Those bipedal water sacs just won't take. We will get back to you in 3 to 5 business millennia for an answer. The Galactic Council Administrative Center, or GCAC as insiders called it, was the bureaucratic heart of the United Galactic Federation, located in the exact center of the Milky Way. According to their marketing materials, though actual astronomers disputed this claim, it was a sprawling complex of offices that processed everything from planetary membership applications to complaints about black holes appearing too close to vacation resorts. Zorb was a Level 7 communications officer, which meant he dealt with messages from non-member planets. Earth, much to his increasing dismay, fell into this category. What's our warning about this time? Plex asked, extending a gelatinous pseudopod toward the holographic display. Let's see. Zorb scrolled through the message, his eye stalks narrowing. Blah, blah, blah. Imminent danger, blah, blah. Strange signals from the Andromeda galaxy, blah, blah. Potential invasion force, blah, blah. Oh, a new part. They have detected unusual gravitational distortions near their outer solar system. He closed the message with a dismissive flick. Same as last week, but they have added exclamation points, as if punctuation will somehow elevate their priority status. Should we forward it to the council? Plex suggested timidly. Zorb laughed so hard that one of his breathing tubes temporarily collapsed. The council? The council? Plex, my gelatinous friend. The council hasn't read a Level 3 distress message since the Triassic period on Earth. They are too busy deciding what color to paint the new meditation chambers. Just then, a loud ping echoed through the office, causing both aliens to jump. The holographic display flashed red. When the name of Blorgan's 7 mothers is that? Zorb screeched, his skin turning a panicked shade of mauve. Plex's body quivered uncontrollably. It's a priority override, sir. From Earth. That's impossible. Zorb sputtered. They don't have the access codes for priority override. They don't even have official membership status. Yet there it was flashing insistently on their screen. With tremendous reluctance, Zorb tapped the notification. The holographic display expanded, filling the office with light. But instead of the formal diplomatic message Zorb expected, the image that appeared was bewildering. What? What I asked that? Zorb whispered, his voice strangled with confusion. The image showed what appeared to be a small furry earth creature, a cat, if Zorb's xenobiology training served him correctly, with an unusually distressed facial expression. Above and below the image were bold white letters reading, Ermagerd, aliens are real. Plex's optical sensors blinked in rapid succession. Sir, I believe that's what humans call a meme. A what? A meme, sir. A form of cultural transmission through humorous imagery. I wrote my doctoral thesis on primitive communication forms. Zorb's eye stalks twisted into knots. They have hijacked our priority override system to send us jokes. As if an answer, another ping sounded, and another, and another. The holographic display began filling with images faster than either of them could process. A pointy-eared green being sipping from a cup with the words, alien problems require alien solutions. A human in a rumpled suit gesturing to butterfly with text asking, is this first contact? Some bizarre rectangular yellow creature with a caption, aliens. Exist humanity. Surprised Pikachu face. Make it stop, Zorb wailed, frantically tapping at his control panel. This has to violate at least 17 interstellar communication protocols. Sir Plex's voice had gone oddly calm. There's a text message accompanying these images. Zorb paused his panicked button mashing. What does it say? It says, since formal diplomatic channels have failed to elicit a response, we thought we'd try speaking your actual universal language. Viral content. P.S. Those ships from Andromeda? They are now within Jupiter's orbit. No pressure, but maybe check your spam folder for our previous 36 messages. Good spot. The office fell silent. Even the ambient humming of the quantum processors seemed to dim. Sir, Plex ventured after a long moment. What do we do? Zorb's appendages trembled as he reached for the direct line to the High Council. A line he had been explicitly told never to use unless the galaxy was literally ending. We escalate, he whispered, and may Blorgan have mercy on our souls. High Counselor Vex was not having a good day. First, the cafeteria had run out of nutrient slurry before she could get her third breakfast. Then, her favorite meditation chamber had been closed for renovations. The color debate had finally been resolved. They were going with cosmic mauve instead of ethereal lavender. And now, her afternoon nap had been interrupted by an emergency council session called by some nobody communications officer. This had better be good, she growled to her personal assistant, Drix, as they glided toward the council chambers. Drix, being a non-corporeal entity composed entirely of logical algorithms and obsequious programming, merely flickered in acknowledgement. The Grand Council Chamber was a massive dome designed to inspire awe and facilitate acoustics. The 12 high counselors sat in elevated pods arranged in a circle, looking down upon whoever had the misfortune of addressing them. Today, that unlucky individual was Zorb, who stood in the center looking like he might pass out, defecate, or both. Speak, communications officer. What was it? Zerp? High Counselor Vex boomed, her voice echoing dramatically. Zorb, your eminence, he corrected, immediately regretting it as 12 pairs of ancient, judgmental eyes narrowed at him. From non-member planet communications, level 7. Yes, fascinating, drawled High Counselor Quex, a gaseous entity who had to be contained in a special force field to prevent him from accidentally suffocating his colleagues. Do get to the point before we all reach evolutionary senescence. Zorb swallowed hard. Esteemed High Counselors, I come before you with urgent news regarding the non-member planet designated Earth. They have been sending warnings about a potential threat from the Andromeda Galaxy, and Earth, interrupted High Counselor Zix, a crystalline being whose age was rumored to be older than several small stars. Isn't that the water planet with the bipeds who can't stop fighting over imaginary lines on their surface? And they still think faster-than-light travel involves bending something called space-time, cackled High Counselor Bex, a colony of intelligent microbes who shared a single consciousness and a single terrible sense of humor. Yes, that's them, Zorb confirmed, his patience wearing dangerously thin. But they have detected approaching vessels from Andromeda, and they have been trying to warn us Andromeda. High Counselor Vex's tone shifted slightly. What would Andromedans be doing in our galaxy? We haven't had diplomatic relations with them since the Great Misunderstanding. The Great Misunderstanding was legendary in galactic history texts. A tragic first contact scenario where the standard Andromedan greeting, disintegrating the least important person in the room, had been woefully misinterpreted by Milky Way diplomats. That's what Earth has been trying to tell us. Zorb pressed on, gaining confidence. They have detected ships with Andromedan energy signatures approaching their solar system. They have sent 37 formal communications over the past solar rotation, all of which have been. Been what? Demanded Vex. Filed for future review. Zorb finished diplomatically, rather than saying completely ignored because we think humans are ridiculous. And we should care about this. Why? Drawled Quex, his gaseous form swirling contemptuously. Zorb took a deep breath. Because, your eminences, when their formal communications were ignored, they somehow bypassed our security protocols and flooded our communications system with these. He activated his personal projector, and suddenly the Grand Chamber was filled with hundreds of human memes, all featuring aliens, spaceships, and increasingly pointed references to the Council's incompetence. One particularly crude image showed a cartoon alien with a striking resemblance to High Counselor Vex with a caption, "Intergalactic threat? Nah, let's debate paint colors." The chamber erupted in chaos. "This is an outrage," screeched Zyx, her crystalline form vibrating with such indignation that small fractures appeared on her surface. "How dare they mock the sacred color deliberations?" gasped Vex, the microcolony pulsating with collective offense. Vex raised all four of her appendages, and the chamber fell silent. "Communications Officer Zorb," she said, her voice dangerously quiet. "Are you suggesting that a primitive, non-member species has not only detected an Andromedan incursion before our own advanced monitoring systems, but has also managed to hack into our supposedly impenetrable communications network, just to send us jokes?" Put that way, it did sound rather implausible. Zorb's confidence wavered. "Technically, Your Eminence, they're called memes, not jokes," he clarified. Immediately wishing he could extract the word from the air and swallow them back down, the Vex eye stalks twisted into what Zorb recognized as the universal expression for, "I'm mentally composing your termination notice." But before she could speak, the chamber's emergency alarm began to wail, a sound so rarely heard that several of the younger counselors didn't immediately recognize it. The central communication hub rose from the floor, glowing an ominous red. Drix, being the only entity present with direct interface capabilities, connected to it. "Hi, counselors," Drix announced, its voice unnaturally calm. "Our outer defense grid has detected multiple vessels entering the system. Energy signatures confirm. Andromedan origin." The chamber went dead silent. "How many vessels?" Vex asked quietly. "Initial scans indicate 378, Your Eminence." Someone, possibly Quex, though he would later deny it, let out what could only be described as a squeak of terror. "Time to arrival at Galactic Center?" Zyx inquired, her crystalline surface now riddled with stress fractures. "At current velocity, approximately 48 standard hours." The silence stretched, taut as a gravitational singularity. Finally, Vex turned to Zorb, her expression unreadable. "It seems, Communications Officer, that we owe you and Earth an apology." Zorb blinked in surprise. In the 12 million solar rotations of the Galactic Council's existence, those words had never before been uttered within these chambers. "Contact Earth immediately," Vex commanded. "Inform them that the Council acknowledges their warnings and—" She seemed to choke on the next words, "that request their assistance." As Zorb hurried from the chamber, already drafting the most awkward diplomatic message of his career, he couldn't help but feel a twinge of vengeful satisfaction. He would, of course, be professionally tactful in the official communication. But privately, he was absolutely going to send them the most appropriate human meme he could find, a smug-looking furry Earth creature with the caption, "I told you so." Zorb had never sent a priority ultra-maximum emergency message before. For one thing, the authorization codes were stored in a part of the system so ancient that it still used something called CAPTCHA verification. For another, the message template was formatted in Comic Sans, which even Zorb, with his limited understanding of human culture, knew was considered a diplomatic offense in 17-star systems. "Are you sure this will work?" Plex quivered nervously, his gelatinous form rippling with anxiety waves as Zorb composed the message to Earth. "No, I'm not sure," Zorb snapped, all 7 of his appendages flying over the holographic interface. "But considering we have got an Andromedan war fleet approximately 47 hours and 23 minutes away from turning our lovely galactic center into a smoking crater, I'm willing to try anything, even appealing to a planet of meme-obsessed primates." The message Zorb was drafting read, "2. Earth Unified Space Command from Galactic Council." Yes, that one. Subject: "We apologize for the inconvenience. Greetings, humans. IT has come to our attention that your previous 37 messages regarding Andromedan vessels were correct. The Council extends its most humble apologies for the delay in response. We were very busy with important Council matters, such as redacted by system. Too embarrassing. The Andromedan fleet is now approaching the Galactic Center. We formally request any assistance, information, or advice your planet can provide. P.S. The memes were effective. P.S. Please send help. Should we add an emoji?" Zorb wondered aloud, his eye stalks twisted in concentration. "I hear humans respond well to visual emotional indicators." Before Plex could respond, the communication console pinged. An incoming transmission from Earth. They're calling US. Plex's entire body flushed a shocked pink. But we haven't even sent our message yet. Zorb's breathing tubes constricted with dread. Put it through. The holographic display flickered, and a human face appeared, pale-skinned, with facial hair around the mouth area and optical enhancers. Glasses, Zorb recalled from his xenobiology courses, perched on a protruding nasal structure. "Greetings, Galactic Council representatives," the human said with alarming cheerfulness. "Dr. Jake Novak, Earth Unified Space Command, Extraterrestrial Communications Division. I see you have finally decided to acknowledge our warnings. Only took an imminent invasion. No big deal." Zorb blinked all four of his eyes in sequence, a sign of extreme confusion in his species. How? How did you know we were drafting a response?" The human, Dr. Novak, smirked. "Oh, we have been monitoring your internal communications since we sent the first meme. Your firewall protection is. How can I put this diplomatically? Let's just say my 12-year-old nephew could have hacked it with a toaster and some bubblegum." Plex made a strange gurgling sound that indicated either extreme offense or the need to divide by binary fission. It was hard to tell with his species. "That's a direct violation of Galactic Protocol 7293B. Zorb sputtered. "Yeah, and ignoring 37 emergency communications is a violation of Protocols 45 through 892. But who's counting?" Dr. Novak countered, taking a sip from a container labeled World's Okayest Xenolinguist. "Anyway, we figured you'd get around to calling us once your scanners picked up the Andromedans, so we have been preparing. We're sending you a data packet now." The console beeped as a massive file transfer began downloading. "What is this?" Zorb asked, suspicion creeping into his voice. After all, humans had already proven themselves capable of both hacking and meme warfare. Who knew what other digital weapons they possessed? That, Dr. Novak said with unmistakable pride, is humanity's secret weapon against the Andromedans. Zorb and Plex exchanged worried glances. You have a weapon that can stop 378 Andromedan warships?" Plex asked, his gelatinous form solidifying slightly with hope. "Well, not exactly a weapon," Dr. Novak clarified, adjusting his glasses. "More like the complete archive of Earth's internet culture from the past century." Zorb's eye stalks drooped in disappointment. "More memes? That's your solution." "Not just memes," Dr. Novak corrected, wagging a finger. "We are talking cat videos, TikTok dances, Twitter arguments, conspiracy theories, viral challenges, reality TV highlight reels, and every single reaction GIF ever created. The complete, unfiltered chaos of human communication." Plex wobbled in confusion. "And how exactly will this help against plasma cannons and quantum disruptors?" Dr. Novak leaned forward, his expression suddenly serious. "You clearly don't understand the Andromedans as well as you think you do. During our first unofficial contact with them 8 Earth months ago, you have had contact with the Andromedans?" Zorb screeched, his skin turning the pale yellow of absolute shock. "Unofficial," Dr. Novak emphasized with air quotes. "One of the scout ships crashed in something called Nebraska. Very remote location, perfect for hiding aliens. Anyway, before your bureaucracy could even process our first message about it, we'd already established basic communication with the survivors. And they didn't disintegrate anyone." Zorb asked suspiciously. "Oh, they tried," Dr. Novak chuckled. "But they got distracted when one of our researchers showed them a video of a goat screaming like a human. They were fascinated. It turns out, Andromedans have no concept of humor, sarcasm, or irrational behavior. Their entire civilization is built on pure logic and efficiency." Plex rippled thoughtfully. "And Earth culture is the exact opposite." Dr. Novak finished triumphantly. "We are sending you everything because we discovered their neural networks simply cannot process our content. It causes their logical systems to crash as they try to find rational explanations for concepts like Florida Man or dance challenges where people pretend to be corn." Zorb and Plex stared at the human in stunned silence. "You want to defeat the most feared military force in 2 galaxies. With internet memes?" Zorb finally managed. "Worked on you, didn't it?" Dr. Novak winked. The Galactic High Council chamber had never been so crowded. All 12 High Counselors were present, along with their assistants, the heads of every major department, and representatives from 17 allied systems who had hastily arrived after news of the approaching Andromedan fleet spread. In the center of it all stood Zorb, Plex, and a holographic projection of Dr. Jake Novak, who was explaining the Earth plan with the confident nonchalance of someone suggesting pizza toppings rather than galactic defense strategy. And once we broadcast this content directly to their ships, their logical processing units should experience cascading failures, Dr. Novak was saying as animated diagrams illustrated his points. High Counselor Vex looked deeply skeptical, her eye stalks twisted into what xenobiologists recognized as the universal expression for "I'm too old for this nonsense." "Let me make sure I understand correctly, Dr. Novak," she said slowly. "You propose that we repurpose our galactic communication array, a piece of technology that took 17 generations to build and is primarily used for diplomatic transmissions, to broadcast videos of small Earth predators knocking objects off elevated surfaces? Cats." Dr. Novak nodded enthusiastically. "Knocking things off tables. But that's just one small part of the package. We have also included humans arguing about whether a dress is blue or gold, thousands of hours of people lip-syncing to music, and my personal favorite, conspiracy theories about how shape-shifting lizard people secretly run Earth's governments." High Counselor Quex's gaseous form swirled rapidly, the equivalent of raising an eyebrow. "And these lizard people, do they?" "No." Dr. Novak laughed, then paused. "Well, I don't think so. Not confirmed, anyway. That's the beauty of it. Even we don't understand half of our own content. The Andromedans have no chance." "This is preposterous," declared High Counselor ZYX, tiny fractures forming across her crystalline surface. "We should be preparing our defense fleet, not wasting time on primitive psychological warfare." "About that defense fleet," Drix, Vex's assistant, interjected awkwardly. "Our current active vessels number exactly 17. The rest are undergoing renovations." 17? Gasped Vex, the micro-colony pulsating with alarm. "Against 378 Andromedan warships." An uncomfortable silence fell over the chamber. "The renovations were very important," Vex said defensively. "The ships were an outdated shade of mauve." Zorb suppressed the urge to bang his head against the nearest solid surface. "Look," Dr. Novak said, breaking the awkward silence. "I understand your skepticism, but our analysis of the Andromedan crash survivors showed that exposure to just 3 minutes of content from something called aeriality television caused their neural networks to attempt 17 simultaneous reboots. All we need is access to your communication array, and we can broadcast our cultural package directly to their fleet." Vex's stalks straightened with decision. "Very well, Dr. Novak. Given our limited alternatives, the Council authorizes this attempt. Communications Officer Zorb will assist you in accessing our broadcasting systems." Zorb felt a strange mixture of pride and terror wash over him. "I will not let you down, Your Eminence." "See that you don't," Vex replied ominously. "Because if this fails, we will need someone to blame before we are all disintegrated." The Galactic Communication Array Control Center was even more imposing than its unnecessarily long name suggested. Situated at the very top of the administrative center, the circular room was lined with glowing consoles and dominated by a massive transparent dome that offered a spectacular view of the galaxy beyond. Zorb worked frantically at the main control panel, his appendages flying over holographic interfaces as he prepared the system for Earth's data package. Plex hovered nearby, monitoring the approaching Andromedan fleet on a separate screen. "They have entered the inner system," Plex reported nervously. "Estimated arrival, 22 minutes and 14 seconds. "No pressure," Zorb muttered, authorizing yet another security override. "Dr. Novak, we are almost ready on our end. The array is calibrated to broadcast directly to their fleet." Dr. Novak's hologram nodded. "Excellent. We are standing by with the complete package. Just give the word." The elevator doors slid open, and High Counselor Vex glided in, accompanied by Drix and several other council members. "Status report," she demanded. "Broadcasting systems ready," Zorb confirmed. "Andromedan fleet approaching. We are prepared to transmit on your command, Your Eminence." Vex moved to the window, gazing out at the stars. "In all my 700 years on the council, I never thought I'd see the day when our salvation might depend on, she struggled to say the word, memes. The universe works in mysterious ways, Your Eminence, Plex offered philosophically. Not helping, Plex, Zorb hissed. The main screen flashed red as new data appeared. They're broadcasting a message, Plex announced, his gelatinous form quivering. On screen, Vex commanded. The display flickered, and an Andromedan appeared, at least what passed for an Andromedan in visual form. They existed primarily as patterns of energy, using synthesized physical manifestations for communication with matter-based species. This one had adopted a vaguely humanoid shape, glowing with pulsing blue light. Inhabitants of the Milky Way galaxy. The Andromedan's voice was perfectly modulated, devoid of any emotion or inflection. We are representatives of the Andromedan High Command. Your existence has been determined to be inefficient. Your governing systems waste 78.4% of available resources on non-essential functions. Your species spend an average of 42.3% of conscious time on activities with no measurable productive output. They're talking about the color deliberation committees, Zorb whispered to Plex, who wobbled in agreement. Preparation for assimilation will commence in exactly 20 Earth minutes. The Andromedan continued. Resistance is, oh my God, they're doing the whole air resistance is futile speech, Dr. Novak's hologram interrupted, rolling his eyes dramatically. How cliché can you get? This is exactly why they need our help. No originality whatsoever. Vex shot him a glare that could have melted neutronium. Your Eminence, Zorb said urgently. We need to make a decision. Do we proceed with Earth's plan? Vex looked from the approaching Andromedan fleet to the hologram of the strangely confident human, then to the anxious faces of her fellow council members. For once in her long tenure, color deliberations were the furthest thing from her mind. Broadcast the package, she commanded. Zorb immediately activated the sequence. Transmitting now. On the main screen, the Andromedan representative suddenly paused mid-speech. Its glowing form flickered briefly. What is this information you are sending? It asked, the perfect modulation of its voice faltering slightly. Doctor Novak grinned. That, my logical friend, is a compilation of humans trying to eat cinnamon without water, followed by a selection of our finest conspiracy theories about birds not being real. The Andromedan's form flickered more violently. This does not compute. Birds are clearly real biological entities. The evidence is, it stopped again, its glow dimming momentarily. You are now sending humans arguing about the proper pronunciation of GIF? Hard G, obviously, Dr. Novak said with a shrug. Though some monsters insist it's a soft G. Just wait until you get to the pineapple on pizza debate. Pineapple on pizza. The Andromedan was now flickering rapidly, its form struggling to maintain coherence. But why would? Nutritional preferences, subjective taste, illogical arguments, system error. Suddenly, the transmission cut out. Everyone in the control center held their breath. Did it work? Vex whispered. Plex was monitoring the sensor readings. The lead vessel has stopped. Its power signatures are fluctuating wildly. On the main view screen, they could now see the Andromedan fleet. The massive ships, each one shaped like a perfect geometric form that somehow hurt to look at directly, had indeed halted their advance. Several of them appeared to be drifting slightly off course. More, Dr. Novak urged excitedly. Send the next package. Zorb didn't wait for Vex authorization. His appendages flew across the controls, initiating the second broadcast. This one containing what Dr. Novak had described as every internet argument about Star Wars, plus all existing cat videos set to dramatic music. The effect was immediate and spectacular. Throughout the Andromedan fleet, ships began to spin slowly, their energy signatures flickering like strobe lights. It's working, Plex exclaimed, his gelatinous form turning a delighted shade of pink. A new transmission suddenly came through. Audio only, and filled with static. What is a Chewbacca? An Andromedan voice asked, sounding distressingly unstable. And why do humans argue for 56.7 Earth years about weather? It shot first. This makes no logical sense. That's the point. Dr. Novak laughed triumphantly. Send the final package, Zorb. Give them the tick-tock dances. With a flourish worthy of a concert conductor, Zorb initiated the final transmission. On the view screen, the effect was immediate and catastrophic for the Andromedans. Ships began to veer wildly off course. Several of the smaller vessels actually began to emit what looked suspiciously like escape pods. They are retreating, Plex announced as the sensor readings confirmed what they were seeing. The entire fleet is turning around. The control center erupted in cheers. High Counselor Vex looked genuinely stunned, her eye stalks drooping in disbelief. It actually worked, she murmured. They defeated the most feared military force in 2 galaxies, with cat videos and dance challenges. Dr. Novak's hologram took a dramatic bow. Just wait until they discover our political systems. Now, that would really fry their circuits. 3 standard days later, the Galactic Council convened for what was being called the most historic session since the Great Misunderstanding. The chamber was packed with representatives from across the galaxy, and at the center stood Zorb, Plex, and, in an unprecedented move, a physical delegation from Earth, led by Dr. Jake Novak. High Counselor Vex, looking more serious than anyone could remember, addressed the assembly. For too long, the Galactic Council has operated on principles of tradition, bureaucracy, and an unhealthy obsession with color schemes, she began, ignoring the offended murmurs from several of her fellow counselors. Our complacency nearly resulted in the assimilation of our entire galaxy. But thanks to the quick thinking and unconventional tactics of the planet Earth, disaster has been averted. She gestured toward the human delegation. Today, I am proposing 2 historic resolutions. First, that Earth be granted immediate full membership in the United Galactic Federation, with all associated rights and privileges. The chamber erupted in approving chirps, rumbles, and various species-specific sounds of agreement. Second, Vex continued once the noise had died down, that we establish a new division within our administrative structure, the Department of Irrational Solutions and Alternative Thinking, or DISAT for short. This department will be co-chaired by Communications Officer Zorb and Dr. Jake Novak of Earth. Zorb's jaw dropped open so far that one of his smaller breathing tubes nearly fell out. He looked at Dr. Novak, who seemed equally surprised but definitely pleased. Furthermore, Vex added, all future communications from non-member planets will be given priority review, regardless of their technological development or eccentricities. As the chamber once again filled with sounds of approval, Zorb leaned toward Dr. Novak. I still can't believe it worked, he admitted quietly. Your memes saved the galaxy. Dr. Novak grinned. Never underestimate the power of human absurdity, my friend. Logic and efficiency have their place, but sometimes what you really need is a video of someone falling off a chair while trying to lip sync. Plex, who had been quietly observing, suddenly wobbled with excitement. I have been studying your Earth culture extensively since this incident, and I believe I have created something appropriate for this historic occasion. With a ripple of his gelatinous form, he activated a small projector. Above them appeared a crude image of High Counselor Vex with white text that read, ignores 37 warnings about alien invasion. Gives you a promotion when you save the galaxy with memes. Dr. Novak burst out laughing. That's perfect. You have created your first meme. Zorb looked from his assistant to the human, then up at the decidedly unamused High Counselor Vex, and felt something he hadn't experienced in his entire bureaucratic career, a sense of possibility. As the council session continued around them, Zorb leaned inconspiratorially toward his new human colleague. So, tell me more about these Florida men I keep hearing about. Are they some kind of Earth super soldiers? Dr. Novak's eyes twinkled with mischief. Oh, Zorb, you have no idea what you're asking for. But I promise you this, the galaxy will never be the same again. And as Zorb looked around at the stuffy, tradition-bound council chamber, now forever altered by humanity's chaotic influence, he realized that was exactly what the galaxy needed. After all, if cat videos could save civilization, perhaps there was hope for bureaucracy yet.